Unbelievable fossil discoveries. Number 12, a saber-toothed squirrel. This fossil of a saber-toothed squirrel was found by scientists in Argentina and is 6 inches in length. Now, what comes to mind is probably the squirrel from the Ice Age film Scrat. Even though these two creatures share similar-looking qualities, they're actually 2 different species. The animated character that you know and love is based on a dryolistoid, while the fossil's origin is a cronopio. Cronopio had a diet that consisted of mainly insects and wasn't exactly driven crazy by acorns like Scrat, though they both share canine fangs, big eyes, and an elongated snout. Scientists say these animals were likely walking among the dinosaurs some 100 million years ago. Number 11, Archaeopteryx fossil. This perfectly preserved fossil of the ancient creature, known as an Archaeopteryx, was discovered in the limestone deposits that are found in Solnhofen, Germany. This pigeon-sized animal is considered to be the flawless missing link between birds and dinosaurs. Since the discovery, there have been more convincing evolutionary configurations like the dinosaur Sinosauropteryx that have been discovered, but none have been as profound as the Archaeopteryx. This winged dinosaur was alive during the late Cretaceous period, some 150 million years ago, where it lived off a carnivorous diet of lizards, frogs, and insects. Number 10, a Megalosaurus femur. This partial femur of a Megalosaurus was discovered way back in England in the year 1676. A professor from the University of Oxford misidentified it as belonging to a human giant. It wasn't until more than a century and a half that, in 1824, William Buckland finally gave this genus its name, and then it took another 20 years for Megalosaurus to be recognized and identified as a dinosaur. This genus of theropod dinosaurs were carnivores that lived during the middle of the Jurassic period, some 166 million years ago. Number 9, a strange phallus-shaped worm fossil. Scientists say that a bizarre phallus-shaped prehistoric worm has supplied a vital missing link to better understanding the evolution of specific marine animals. The fossilized remains of the worm that was named Spardobranchus tenuis was excavated in Canada's Burgess Shale fossil beds that are located in the Yoho National Park. That specific region is considered as one of the most major fossil deposits for comprehending the early evolution of life in an era that was filled with increasing biodiversity on Earth. It has come to be known as the Cambrian explosion, which began around 542 million years ago. Number 8, fossilized dinosaur droppings. The hardened substances that came from the underside of dinosaurs have proven to be of vital importance, and you're probably asking yourself, how could dinosaur feces be anywhere near important? Maybe not regular folks, but to those who study dinosaurs, they are proven to be of paleological value that can aid in showing paleontologists what certain types of foods extinct creatures ate. Number 7, gigantic ant fossil. A fossil of a gigantic ant was discovered by a group of 4 paleontologists that included 2 from the Simon Fraser University. The fossil is dated at being around 50 million years old and gives the modern world a look at how global warming events had an effect on life all those years ago. The group of scientists has named the new species of giant ant Titanomyrma lubei. This particular ant wasn't just any old ant either. It was the winged queen of its colony. She lived in what is known as the Eocene Epoch, and her body measures a little over 5 centimeters long. That's almost the same size as a modern-day hummingbird, as you can see in this photo. Number 6, a 66-pound rhino skull. This happens to be an extremely rare fossil of a rhinoceros that once lived in what is now modern-day Turkey. Researchers figured out that the cause of the rhino's death was sudden and ended violently. It was revealed that this animal died at the hands of a volcano some 9.2 million years ago. A paleontologist named Pierre-Olivier Antoine of the University of Montpellier in France believes that fragments from volcanic rocks struck the rhino and that a river of ash and rock is responsible for dismembering the body and baking the skull at a temperature of 840 degrees Fahrenheit. The skull equipped with brittle teeth is even rare because it came from a mammal. Number 5, a nest of 15 baby dinosaurs. Back in 2011, a University of Rhode Island paleontologist named David Vastovsky and his colleagues had discovered a fossilized nest of 15 baby dinosaurs in Mongolia. The dinosaurs were later identified as baby Protoceratops andrewsi, who are dated at being 70 million years old. Out of the 15 specimens, there are 10 juveniles that are fully complete. This find marks the first nest to be found for this genus and shows that this species of dinosaur lived in nests for a considerably extended amount of time in order to mature and were cared for by their parents. Number 4. A mystery fossil solved. It was back in 1958 when an amateur fossil hunter named Francis Tully had discovered the fossilized remains of a puzzling marine animal in the northeastern part of Illinois, leaving scientists baffled and unable to identify it. Researchers have spent half a century trying to decipher what kind of creature this could be that was dated at being 307 million years old. Scientists finally were able to figure out what this elusive creature was, and that it was nothing more than a prehistoric lamprey, scientifically dubbed as Tullimonstrum gregarium. The ancient lamprey was measured at being 14 inches long with a narrow dorsal fin and vertical tail fin. The jawless vertebrate used its snout to latch onto its prey and then scrape off pieces with its tongue. Number 3. Peru's giant penguins. When you think of penguins, you instantly think of their cold home in the South Pole, but what doesn't come to mind is that they could live somewhere such as Peru. Well, that's where scientists discovered that a species of giant penguin used to reside almost 36 million years ago. Scientifically known as Incayuku paracancensis, the Incayuku penguin could grow to be up to around 5 feet long and weighing about as much as a fully grown human would. This is much taller and heavier than the biggest penguin species alive today, the emperor penguin. It was known to have a hyper-elongated bill in order to help it scoop up fish from the ocean. Number 2. A 100-million-year-old spider fossil. Fossils have an interesting way of preserving life, and they usually hold a story to go along with how the preserved specimen spent the last few moments of their life. But what makes this fossil so particularly rare is that it shows the story of life and death. This piece of fossilized amber shows a spider about to feast on its prey, and is the only fossil ever to be found that depicts a spider attack. The amber was dated at being 100 million years old and is a perfect snapshot. Researchers found that the spider lived in the Hukwang Valley of Myanmar during the early Cretaceous period. Number 1. A Megalodon jaw. Megalodon was once considered as the apex predator of the ocean when it swam the seas roughly 2.6 million years ago. It's also the biggest predator to ever have existed on this entire planet. Megalodons could reach up to a staggering length of 52 feet long and weigh a massive 100 tons. Thankfully, this terrifying species of shark died out around 1.5 million years ago. The famous fossil hunter Vito Megalodon Bertucci spent nearly 20 years of his life trying to rebuild this megalodon jaw. Made up of 182 fossilized teeth, this is the largest jaw ever to be pieced back together, and it measures in at 11 feet wide and 9 feet tall. Bertucci found the fragments amongst various rivers in South Carolina.